Well, I was raised in the North Valley, and I had a rough childhood. My dad, my real father, was an alcoholic, and he was always beating my mom and slapping her and all kinds of stuff like that. Everything he did, we saw and heard. It was just rough. And then she finally got divorced from him, and she married this other guy. He was worse than my dad because he picked on us. He's constantly cussing us out, slapping us around, pushing around.
Well, this is interesting because John said his father was an alcoholic. Well, mine was too, but he was a Catholic deacon for 28 years until he retired. My father was not an abusive alcoholic. He just drank every day, and he was actually very loving, and when he drank, he got a little bit more loving, so we didn't mind him drinking at all, but my mother hated it. And so I think my mother, who did not drink at all, had been brought up in a very, very violent home. Very violent. She had like 6 older brothers, and her father would beat them just all the time. So she grew up seeing that. She grew up with a lot of anger. She didn't know how to be a parent, and I was the oldest, and so she was abusive to me.
Then anyway, I went off into the neighborhood, and I started hanging out with these guys, and for long, they were doing heroin, and I wasn't thinking nothing of it, but for long, about a month or 2, just hanging around with them, I started doing it too. Before I knew it, I was hooked, and that's all it took. I was hooked on that.
I started drinking. I did other drugs. I had really bad experiences drinking also. And when I was 23, or 21, I went into the Army. And it was in the Army that I was sent to a treatment center.
It's like you're fighting just to get high. And it's like 24 hours go by, you better have some more drugs and some more money, because it ain't gonna last. And then I got hooked so bad that I became homeless.
Addiction is a really complicated thing. It's a weird thing. I was completely sober and drug-free for 18 years. Became a therapist. I have a master's degree in counseling and educational psychology. And after 18 years, I started gambling. I had no idea that gambling was an addiction. None. It was not even in our diagnostic manual as counselors at that time. And that addiction in 15 years took from me what drinking hadn't. I even broke the law. I was risking my life. It was ridiculous. It was horrible.
Sometimes I couldn't eat, sometimes I couldn't sleep, because the cops were always hassling me. And it got to the point where I just would look for somewhere to sleep, because if I fall asleep anywhere where they actually see me, the cops will come and say, you gotta have to move. You have to move or you're gonna go to jail. And then my mom was she was at home, and she started getting sick, and they told me, Mama, your mom's gonna die. So when I went to see my mom in the hospital, she started asking me all kinds of questions and telling me, you gotta stop doing that stuff, stop doing it, stop it. And I made a promise, I would never do it again. She said, yeah, right. I said, yeah, I promise. And when she died, I quit doing heroin. I haven't touched it since.
and I was in a jail begging God to give me one more chance. And he did, because he always does when you mean it from your heart. And I didn't have to go to prison, and I did, however, live on probation for 5 years. At first with one of those bracelet things on house arrest. I couldn't even believe how far down that addiction took me, where the first one did not.
God came into my life and just straightened my whole life out. And ever since then, I've been trying to be faithful to Him, faithful to people around me, and just be what God wants me to be. A musician. I just play in the worship team. And I haven't done anything. No smoking cigarettes, no drugs, nothing. And we've done a lot in my life. I don't ever have to worry about how I'm gonna feel, because I know I'm not gonna wake up this morning sick. I'm not gonna be feeling really bad. I just have to get up and pray to God. Let Him know that I'm still devoted to that. Staying clean and getting my life together.
God is just so good, and I've had opportunities to use my story to help other people, and that's what I'm supposed to do with it, I believe, and I'm just so grateful.